Hello, welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got some news coming out from the Kursk region. I've got lots of updates to share with you with this ongoing offensive from the Ukrainians striking into Russian territory. We're also going to talk about Belgorod here today as well. I've got a lot of updates regarding that. Let's actually start with Belgorod first. So, some of the biggest news is what you see here on your screen. Belgorod region has declared a state of emergency. This is due to daily shelling by the Ukrainian armed forces. We've got many houses that are apparently destroyed and wounded and killed civilians, which is very unfortunate. That should never happen in war. But the Belgorod governor is reporting this, okay, that lots of wounded and killed civilians, and also the daily shelling is just forcing them to have to declare a federal emergency at some point. Right now, it's a state of emergency, but they're pushing towards a federal emergency. Okay, so we know that the Ukrainians are starting to move towards Belgorod, and we know they're starting to already push in certain areas. And I've got some information today that shows that definitely they are going to go after Belgorod next. I think this will be the next hard push. Will be into the Belgorod region, and we will probably see the Ukrainians flanking from the northern side where they are at in Kursk right now, and also pushing in over the Ukrainian border into Belgorod. So also, we've got reports of 3 Russian airfields that have come under attack by drones. Lots and lots of video footage coming out from that. We've got hangars that have been destroyed, potentially aircraft that have been hit. We'll see what we get here in the videos that I show you guys, but possibly even 4 airfields. I'll show you a post that talks about that as well. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. I've got several things to go over with you here today on X. This one's from OZNT, Yuri Kikoski. A state of emergency has been declared in the Belgorod region of Russia. Children are being evacuated. The situation in our Belgorod region continues to be extremely difficult and tense. Daily shelling by Ukrainian armed forces destroyed houses, wounded and killed civilians. Therefore, we are making a decision from today throughout the Belgorod region to declare a regional emergency with the aim of providing additional protection to the population and additional support measures to the victims, with a subsequent appeal to the government commission with a request to declare a federal emergency. We continue to evacuate our children to safe regions, Belgorod Governor Gladkov said. So this is him right here. I'm not going to show you guys the video just because it's not in English. There's no subtitles, so there's no point really watching that. But it's just basically him declaring that they're in a state of emergency in the Belgorod region. So it looks like this war is going to expand now into the Belgorod region very soon, considering that they're also declaring a state of emergency. Because, I mean, Belgorod's been under attack for a very long time. All of a sudden, now that this offensive is opened up in a Kursk, they're declaring a state of emergency. And it's also because the Ukrainians are pushing towards the border of Belgorod on the northern side coming from Kursk, okay? So that's obviously very, very big news. Let's go ahead and move on to Bliskovka. We've got some information here too. It says in Kursk region, we are moving further from 1 to 2 kilometers in different sections from the beginning of the day, Volodymyr Zelensky, okay? So they're continuing to advance, and more than 100 captured Russian soldiers during the same period. I am grateful to everyone involved, the president added. The commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Ukraine, Oleksandr Syrsky, reported that the search and destruction of the enemy was completed in Sudzha. Okay, so Sudzha, if I'm understanding this right, this should be that border town that was first taken over. So it looks like the Ukrainians have complete control of Sudzha. Yeah, the Ukrainians are continuing to push forward. I mean, we've been hearing this every day. I've heard some unconfirmed reports that they might have control as high as almost 1,100 kilometers, square kilometers, excuse me, inside of the Kursk region now. We just reported yesterday they were at something like 1,040. Okay, so potentially they could have gained upwards of another 60 square kilometers in just the last 24 hours. So Ukraine is punching hard into Russia and taking over vast amounts of territory in the Kursk region very quickly. Now they're going to be moving on to Belgorod. All right, let's go over this with Igor Sushko now. Leak from Russian intel services. Ukraine is accumulating a large military force in Malaya, Rybitsa, to attack Russia's Belgorod region. Ukrainian forces in Sudzha also expected to assault from the north. My thought, taking and holding Belgorod may be the ultimate objective. Definitely could be a possibility. I mean, Kharkiv has come under attack so much, and that's obviously a major city. They got to protect Kharkiv, considering that it's their second largest city in Ukraine. and they have been doing a very good job of protecting it. So it looks like they want to push down in the Belgorod region and eventually take control of it. So this is where they will come in from here in these two flanks on the southern side of Belgorod, coming from Ukrainian territory. And then up here near Sudza is where they are in control right now in the Kursk region. They're going to start moving in from the north. So they're going to pinch Belgorod from the south and the northwest at the same time. And they're going to probably get to start moving with this offensive here very soon. We've already seen video footage that unfortunately I wasn't able to show here yesterday of major fighting breaking out on the border of Belgorod. It was just way too graphic for me to show you. Lots of explosions and crazy war happening on the border. But definitely, that is for sure. They are starting to push into Belgorod as we speak right now. So also from Vicegrad 24, take a look at this. Georgian volunteers, soldiers fighting for Ukraine, take a picture inside Russia in the Kursk region. The text behind them says, "This is for Georgia, 888. Russia invaded Georgia on August 8th, 2008. Okay, so we have some Georgian volunteers here that are fighting on behalf of Ukraine, and we've been seeing lots of pictures of this. Okay, I've seen photos of French volunteers. We've heard as well that even like Poland is having their tanks going in to the Kursk region. I'll show you guys here in a little bit. Even French equipment starting to flow into the Kursk region. So definitely multiple NATO nations have volunteers that are fighting on behalf of Ukraine right now. Obviously, Ukraine has the Free Russia Legion that's made up of tons of different international fighters from different countries. But yeah, there you go. Georgian volunteers also fighting on behalf of Ukraine. So also from Bliskovka, Ukraine plans to open humanitarian corridors for the evacuation of civilians from the Kursk region. Minister of Reintegration Vereshchuk said the corridors will operate both towards Russia and Ukraine. Humanitarian operations are also planned to support Russian civilians in the border areas. So it looks like Ukraine's going to be opening humanitarian corridors for the civilians to evacuate them out of the Kursk region, considering all the fighting that's going on. So that's obviously a good sign, right? If the military's got to beef it out, it is what it is. But at least open the corridors here for our humanitarian purposes to get people out and get them out of the fighting in the war zone. Okay, so that was some big news that came out today. Also, here's some more photos of more Russian troops that are captured. It says from Nexto, replenishment of the exchange fund from the Kursk region. So we've got a couple pictures here of more Russian troops surrendering in the Kursk region. There's one photo and two photos there for you. So absolutely crazy, guys. The Russians continue to surrender in Kursk as the Ukrainians are pushing forward. So now let's talk about some of these military bases that have been coming under attack. Now, Ukraine is targeting these on purpose so that way they cannot back up their troops in the Kursk region, now in the Belgorod region as well. And Ukraine almost every day has been hammering the air bases all over Russia, primarily closer to the Kursk and Belgorod regions is where they've been going after. So this is from Vicegrad 24. Breaking Ukrainian long-range drones strike 3 Russian military air bases. Baltimore in the Voronezh region. Borissoglebsk in the Voronezh region. Sava Sleka, sorry guys, near Nizhny Novgorod, which is much further away. This is like 700 kilometers away from the border. Voronezh is much closer to Kursk and Belgorod, not too far away, which would make sense why they would target that. These airports house Su-34 and Su-27 jets. The video is a strike against Borissoglebsk. Okay, so this is an airfield in Voronezh coming under attack. We've got a 5-second video. Go ahead and take a look at this. So just a quick clip of something exploding in the sky here. I don't know if this was a drone maybe getting taken out, but we will show you guys video footage of some of these airfields coming under attack and actually being struck. We've even got evidence of some hangars being destroyed on some of the airfields. So that was just a quick video to show you there. But yeah, for sure, at least 3 airfields coming under attack. 1 in Nizhny Novgorod, 2 in the Voronezh region. And Ukraine, again, is continuing to do this to put pressure on their airfields. That way they cannot use their warplanes to protect their troops on the ground. And this gives Ukraine the advantage to continue pushing and only having to fight against ground troops versus air support, right? So from Boris Alexander, 4 airfields were struck today. Okay, so he's reporting these other 3 that we just talked about, and also Kalino and Kursk could have potentially been targeted as well, according to Boris Alexander Basner. It was the largest attack on Russian airfields to date, mapped for a clear understanding of which and where and which airfield is located. Okay, so here's a photo of some of the airfields that were targeted. So we got 3 air bases that were closer by. What is this called? Kalino is in the Kursk region, 2 over here in Voronezh, and then 1 up here in Nizhny Novgorod. Okay, so very crazy, guys. Look at that, 679 kilometers away from the border, very far away. We've even got reports of another airfield. I think they came under attack, Zelenogorsk or something like that. Also in the, I believe it's the Belgorod region, came under attack as well. We'll go over that here in just a moment. So check this out from Igor Sushko. Russia, at least 10 explosions from Ukrainian drones at the Sava Sleka military base in Nizhny Novgorod, from which MiG-31 jets take off to strike Ukrainian cities with Kinzhal ballistic missiles. Some drones made it through air defenses 700 kilometers from Ukraine east of Moscow. Okay, so this is the Sava Sleka military base, Nizhny Novgorod, coming under attack by drones. Take a look.
На! Потух. Сейчас дойдет, звук дойдет. На!
Нихуя вообще, бля. Давайте, ребятки, хоть один сбейте нахуй. Пизда нахуй. Ловить ошурки нахуй.
Опа. Вот это да.
All right, so again, 700 kilometers away from the border, we can see this last clip over here. There was actually a direct hit right there, supposedly at this airfield. Okay, and several of these airfields had direct hits. Again, we'll show you some pictures here in a little bit, satellite footage, imagery showing some devastation at some of the airfields. So let's go ahead and keep moving. Igor Sushko. Russia, Ukrainian drones are attacking the Sava Sleka military airbase in Nizhny Novgorod, from which MiG-31 jets take off to strike Ukrainian cities with Kinzhal ballistic missiles. At least 10 explosions heard so far this morning, 700 kilometers from Ukraine east of Moscow. So the same airfield coming under attack, but we've got an extra video to show you. Take a look at this.
Как они заебали. Слейку идет.
All right, so I wouldn't have been surprised that several drones, potentially dozens, made it through air defenses all the way out here. I mean, look at this, 700 kilometers away, guys, and these things don't get shot down. So Ukraine said recently that they were going to start taking matters into their own hands and start striking these airfields, even if the U.S. wasn't going to help them, okay? Because we know the U.S. was telling them you can't use ATACMS missiles to go after these airfields. Zelensky basically came out and said, well, that's fine, we'll just do it ourselves. And what have we been seeing here is just massive drone attacks, especially over the last week, ever since this Kursk offensive took place. So this is just absolutely crazy, guys. Let's go ahead and keep moving here. Kursk offensive, Ukrainian drone strike in Zelenogorsk, 80 kilometers north of Elgov. I don't know if it's Elgov or just Gov. Likely targeted attacks on Russian military reinforcements en route to the front line, which is now inside Russia. So if I'm not mistaken, I believe Zelenogorsk is inside of Belgorod region. So take a look at this as well.
Ёб твою мать! Охренеть!
So this video obviously looks like it's taken at night. I know there's really not much you can see, but you could definitely hear in the background some sort of explosion going off. We've got car alarms going off as well due to the explosion. So this was apparently an attack on Zelenogorsk in north of Elgov in the Belgorod region. Okay, so obviously another major hit here. Let's go ahead and keep moving. Satellite images from Nexta of the Boris Oglebsk airfield, which was attacked last night in Russia, have appeared. Satellite images from Planet Labs for August 14th show that Ukrainian drones hit the northwestern part of the airfield. In particular, several hangars were destroyed. Russian Su-25, Su-30, Su-34, and Su-35 aircraft are based at the Boris Oglebsk airfield in the Voronezh region. So we've got pictures here. This is the area that got hit. It's very hard to see here, but I'm going to get it more full screen for you guys. And you can see right there, there's a hangar here and a hangar over here that clearly looks like it was destroyed. There's like at least almost half of it destroyed here, and this one almost the entire thing completely hit and destroyed. So who knows if there was even aircraft inside of there? There probably was. Maybe that's why they targeted these hangars. But again, we continue to see Ukraine doing this. Here's pictures of how they looked prior, okay? So this hangar here and that one, they were just fine. And then all of a sudden after they got hit, completely destroyed, right? So let's go ahead and keep moving, guys. All right, also from Nexta, the Ukrainian armed forces are using French military equipment in their attack on the Kursk region, says Point magazine. In one of the clips, which the newspaper drew attention to, the Ukrainian military operates an APC VAB, developed in the 1970s and gradually withdrawn from the French army. From 2019, the VAB has found a second youth in Ukraine since the start of the Russian invasion in February 2022. France has handed nearly 300 VABs to the Ukrainian army. Okay, so we're even seeing French military equipment heading into the Kursk region as well. Okay, so this is more confirmation showing that it's just nothing but NATO equipment flying into Russia right now. And I'm sure Russia is absolutely infuriated by this, that NATO equipment is on their soil. Okay, not just attacking their soil, but on their soil. So this is just absolutely huge, guys. I wanted to share that with you to show more confirmation of NATO equipment flowing in. Also from Bliskovka, Ukraine can create military command posts on the territory of the Kursk region. Volodymyr Zelensky said, "Our forces strictly comply with the requirements of international conventions and an international humanitarian law," the president noted. So they're going to be setting up military command posts now in the Kursk region. Looks like they want to take full control of at least the territory that they have gained. And we'll see what they decide to do with this territory, okay? I saw some reports that Ukraine doesn't plan to hold Russian territory forever. Maybe they're just going to use this for upcoming negotiations in November. Who knows what they're going to do? But I thought this was absolutely huge information, okay? They're going to be setting up military command posts in the Kursk region. Also, here's a photo coming out from the Kursk region as well. From Nexta, Ukrainian military near the entrance to the administration building in the village of Zaleshenka. Sorry, that's a little hard to say as well. These are such tongue twisters for me. From the Kursk region, more Ukrainian troops taking over several settlements. We heard yesterday there was like 74 settlements that have been taken inside the Kursk region already in just 8 days. So very crazy. Okay, let's keep moving. Vicegrad 24, we've got another report here breaking. Ukraine has shot down a Russian Su-34 fighter bomber over the Kursk region of Russia. Okay, so we just heard this maybe towards the start of this offensive. We had just heard of an Su-34 getting shot down. Looks like we've got another one being shot down, and these things are like 30 million apiece. I think they're like 34 million, something like that. These are very expensive warplanes, and it looks like Ukraine had shot down another one of these. Several sources on X were reporting this just today. All right, also, Tusk says Ukraine's actions in Kursk region are defensive, says Polski Radio. According to the Polish Prime Minister, Kiev's actions, which prevent Russia from winning, also contribute to Poland's security. Ukraine has every right to wage war in such a way as to paralyze Russia in its aggressive intentions as effectively as possible, he said. Now, I know that's going to be a controversial topic right there, but let me know what you think down below. Do you think Ukraine has the right to wage war and push into Russia, considering that they've been attacked by Russia, which would be considered an aggressor, pushing into Ukraine and taking their own territory from them? Let me know what you think down below, but that was something big that was announced today, and obviously Poland is a big backer of Ukraine, and also they've been giving them lots of military equipment that is flowing into the Kursk region right now. They just reported the other day that some of their tanks that have been given to Ukraine are confirmed to be in the Kursk region already right now. So let's go ahead and keep moving. From next, U.S. President Joe Biden commented for the first time on the AFU operation in the Kursk region. This creates a real dilemma for Putin, is what Joe Biden said. So go ahead and see what he has to say for the first time ever since this Kursk operation has been unleashed.
You have to say about what's happening in Russia and Ukraine. Have you spoken with anyone in the Ukrainian government?
I've spoken with my staff on a regular basis, probably every 4 or 5 hours for the last 6 or 8 days. And it's creating a real dilemma for Putin, and we've been in direct contact, constant contact with the Ukrainians. That's all I'm going to say about it while it's active.
You have to say about what's happening in Russia and Ukraine. Have you spoken with...
All right, so that's the most we hear from Joe Biden, is that it's creating a real dilemma for Putin, okay? So we haven't really heard much coming out from Joe Biden at all since this offensive has taken place. I mean, even President Zelensky has been very quiet about it as well for the longest time, maybe like upwards of 5 or 6 days until he finally acknowledged that this operation was taking place. So, yeah, that's the most that Joe Biden has to say for this, is that it's creating a real dilemma for Putin. Okay, so go ahead and moving on. Next, again, in Kursk region, conscript soldiers who evacuated from positions on the border in Kursk region are being forced to sign contracts with the Russian Defense Ministry, says Vertska. The publication also reports that in Moscow, the flow of volunteers has tripled after the increase in payments for a contract with the Defense Ministry. Okay, so that's something big, right? Is that the Defense Ministry has increased payments to troops that choose to join the Russian military and also to go fight in Ukraine. So they've been increasing payments to give people incentive to join, considering that they've have very low troop numbers right now. Obviously, many of them have been killed in combat as well. And we also just heard yesterday, I reported to you guys, even from Belarus, that they're sending over military equipment that's active unit equipment. Okay, it's actual military equipment that the Belarusian military is using right now that they had to give up and send over to Russia, considering that they are apparently running out of equipment. And what is it? Probably tanks, maybe armor personnel carriers, whatever it might be. Any vehicles, armored vehicles, things like that are probably running very low. And we've been seeing this in the Kursk region alone. Lots of the equipment that comes to show up is even destroyed on trucks before they can even offload them, okay? So major problem for Russia right now, and this is why they're increasing payments to get people to join the military. Okay, so finally, I want to show you one last thing here from Igor Sushko. Ukrainian forces welcomed as liberators by a local Russian woman who yelled out "Glory to Ukraine" on Plan Street in Ilyuk, Kursk region. Okay, so in the Kursk region, looks like some of the Ukrainians are being welcomed by the locals in that region and basically being considered liberators. So take a look at this.
Улица План. Слава Украине, кричат, прикинь. Вот и первый местный житель. Набуханный в торбе. В своем репертуаре Рашка. Опять в торбулях.
All right, pretty crazy, right? I mean, they're just driving down the street and all of a sudden they hear somebody saying Slava Ukraini, which means glory to Ukraine, okay? And then they saw that. I thought it was kind of funny at the end. They saw that that local just sitting there, and then the guy was like, oh, he's wasted, which is typical for Russians, is kind of what he was saying, that it's chaotic, right? So I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, it looks like the Ukrainians, I've been seeing lots of videos of them being looked at as liberators, okay? That many of the locals are actually happy that the Ukrainians are showing up. Many of the locals are even very unhappy with Vladimir Putin. I even saw a video of a lady that had some very nasty things to say about him. So obviously it's going to be a controversial thing. Some people may be okay with it, some people won't be. But regardless, the Ukrainians are pushing into the Kursk region, taking over vast amounts of territory right now. So lots of big updates that I wanted to share here with you today, but that's going to be it for today's update. I hope you guys got something out of this, and if you did, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell, that way YouTube can notify you. And with that, I hope y'all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless, and we'll see you in the next one.